You're maybe 8 years old when you first see them. The ground starts shaking before you hear anything. Then comes the thunder, not from the sky, but from hooves. Hundreds of them. The horsemen of Oyo come charging past your village like a moving storm, their colourful robes flowing like rivers of silk, feathers dancing from their horses' heads, chainmail glinting in the morning sun. You've never seen anything so beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The other kids hide behind their mothers. You stand there, mouth open, heart pounding, already knowing this is your future. Your childhood doesn't last long. By 10, you're already training. Not with horses yet, those cost more than your family makes in 5 years. You start with sticks and stones, learning to throw javelins at targets 30 paces away. You miss a lot. Your instructor, a grizzled veteran with scars running down his left arm, doesn't care about your feelings. He cares about accuracy. Every throw that misses means 50 push-ups. Every day you don't improve means no food until you do. This isn't summer camp. This is preparation for war. The Oyo Empire doesn't mess around when it comes to building warriors. They take boys like you and forge them into instruments of conquest. You learn that your empire stretches from the Volta River in the west all the way to the Niger River in the east. You control trade routes that make kingdoms rich. You dominate other Yoruba peoples who thought they were safe behind their forest walls. All because of one thing: horses. Most armies in West Africa fight on foot. They carry shields made from elephant hide, swing 3-foot swords, and throw javelins when they get close enough. That's fine if you're fighting other infantry. But when 100,000 horsemen come thundering at you across open ground, moving faster than anything you've ever seen, your spears and shields don't mean much. The horsemen of Oyo figured this out centuries ago, and it made them unstoppable. By 12, you're learning the real weapons. The triple-barb javelin that can punch through leather armor at 30 paces. The heavy sword that's almost as long as your arm. The 4-foot shield made from ox hide that can stop arrows and deflect blade strikes. Your hands bleed from gripping these weapons for hours. Your shoulders ache from throwing javelins until your form is perfect. Your legs shake from holding combat stances until muscle memory takes over. But you're getting stronger, faster, deadlier. The hardest part isn't the physical training, it's the mental preparation. Your instructors drill one lesson into your head over and over again. Victory is not optional. Defeat means death. Not just death in battle, which would be honorable. Death by your own hand if you survive a loss. The Are Ana Kakanfo, the supreme military commander, must win every single battle or commit suicide. Every officer under him follows the same code. There is no retreat, there is no surrender, there is only victory or the grave. You're 15 when you finally meet your horse. Not some gentle riding pony. This is a war machine imported from the Central Sudan, bred for size and aggression. He's massive, probably 16 hands high, with muscles that ripple under his coat and eyes that seem to look right through you. The stable master hands you the reins and says 3 words that will haunt your dreams. Don't get killed. Learning to ride a war horse is like learning to dance with lightning. These animals are trained to bite, kick, and trample enemies on command. They're not pets. They're weapons with minds of their own. You spend months just trying to stay on his back without getting thrown into the dirt. Then months more learning to control him with your knees while your hands are busy with javelin and sword. The bruises fade eventually. The fear never really goes away. Your horse becomes your partner in a way that civilians will never understand. You feed him by hand every morning. You brush his coat until it shines. You clean his hooves and check for injuries that could get you both killed in battle. In return, he carries you into hell and brings you back alive. The bond between an Oyo horseman and his mount isn't just practical, it's spiritual. When he dies, part of you dies with him. When you die, he's usually right there beside you. The equipment they give you is worth more than your entire village. Chainmail imported from the north that weighs 40 pounds but can stop a sword thrust. A lance that's perfectly balanced for charging strikes. Arrows that can pierce armor at 200 yards. Your horse gets his own armor, decorative feathers, and protective gear that makes him look like a mythical creature. When you ride out in full battle dress, you're not just a soldier, you're a moving piece of art designed to strike terror into enemy hearts. Training never stops. Even as a junior horseman, you're drilling formations 6 days a week. Cavalry charges that require perfect timing and coordination. Feinted retreats that draw enemies into traps. Archery from horseback while moving at full gallop. Hand-to-hand combat techniques for when the fighting gets close and personal. Every skill you learn might save your life someday. Every mistake you make could kill you and the men fighting beside you. The Oyo Empire doesn't maintain 100,000 horsemen by accident. It takes wealth, organization, and ruthless dedication to military excellence. Thousands of slaves work just to keep the horses fed and healthy. Traders risk their lives bringing animals from the north. Blacksmiths forge weapons and armor around the clock. And you, young horseman, are the tip of that massive spear. Your first real campaign is coming. The kingdom of Dahomey has been getting too bold, interfering with trade routes that belong to Oyo. They think their guns and trenches can stop your cavalry. They're about to learn why the horsemen of Oyo have never lost a war. You're 18 when the war drums finally call your name. The campaign against Dahomey isn't going to be like the training exercises or the minor raids you've been part of. This is a full imperial mobilization. 50,000 horsemen plus infantry plus supply trains that stretch for miles. You've never seen so many warriors in one place. The sight should make you feel invincible. Instead, it makes your stomach twist into knots. The march south takes 2 weeks. 2 weeks of eating dust kicked up by thousands of hooves ahead of you. 2 weeks of sleeping on the ground with your horse tethered to your wrist so he doesn't wander off and leave you stranded. 2 weeks of listening to the veterans tell stories about previous campaigns while you try not to think about what's waiting for you at the end of this road. The Dahomey Kingdom isn't what you expected. Instead of open savanna where cavalry can run wild, you find dense forests and swampy ground that slows your horses to a walk. Instead of scattered villages that surrender at the first sight of your war banners, you find fortified positions with trenches and earthworks. And instead of warriors who flee when they hear the thunder of approaching hooves, you find enemies who stand their ground and point strange metal tubes in your direction. You've heard about guns, but you've never seen them used in battle. The first time a Dahomey warrior fires his musket at your formation, the sound hits you like a physical blow. It's not the clean whistle of arrows or the clash of metal on metal. It's an explosion that seems to shake the earth itself. Your horse rears in terror, nearly throwing you from the saddle. Around you, other mounts are doing the same, turning what should be a disciplined charge into chaos. The Dahomey have figured out something that no other enemy has managed before. They've found a way to neutralize your greatest advantage. Horses hate the sound of gunfire. The smell of gunpowder makes them panic. Even the best trained warhorse will bolt when muskets start firing in volleys. Your cavalry charge, the tactic that has conquered half of West Africa, falls apart before you even reach the enemy lines. But the Oyo Empire didn't build its reputation by giving up when things get difficult. Your commanders adapt. Instead of massed cavalry charges across open ground, you're fighting a different kind of war. Dismounted combat through thick forest, night raids on enemy supply lines, and siege warfare against fortified positions. It's brutal, grinding work that tests every skill you've learned and demands new ones you never thought you'd need. The trenches are the worst part. Deep ditches lined with sharpened stakes, designed specifically to stop cavalry charges. You have to abandon your horse and fight on foot, crawling through mud and blood to reach enemies who are shooting at you from protected positions. The chainmail that made you feel invincible now weighs you down like an anchor. The lance that could punch through armor at full gallop is useless in close quarters. You're reduced to your sword and your training, fighting hand-to-hand with warriors who are just as skilled and just as desperate as you are. The siege drags on for months. This isn't the quick, decisive victory that Oyo campaigns are supposed to be. Every day brings new casualties, men you've trained with, eaten with, shared stories with. They don't all die heroically in glorious cavalry charges. Some get picked off by snipers while on patrol. Others succumbed to disease in the overcrowded camps. A few simply disappeared during night operations and are never seen again. You start to understand why the Areona Kakanfo lives on the frontier instead of in the capital. This isn't a job you can do from a throne room. Leadership in the Oyo military means being first into battle and last to retreat. Your commanders don't send you into danger from a safe distance. They lead from the front, sharing every risk with the men under their command. When your unit finally breaks through a section of Dahomey defenses, your war chief is right there beside you, sword in hand, fighting like his life depends on it. Because it does. That's what it means to be a horseman of Oyo. Your life isn't measured in years, it's measured in battles won and enemies conquered. From that 8-year-old boy watching in wonder as cavalry thundered past your village to the hardened warrior fighting in Dahomey trenches, every moment has been building toward this. Every scar on your body tells a story. Every victory carved your name deeper into the Empire's legacy. You gave up your childhood to master weapons that could kill at 30 paces. You bonded with a war horse that became closer than family. You wore armor worth more than kingdoms and rode into battles that lesser men couldn't even imagine. The price was everything. Your innocence, your safety, your guarantee of seeing another sunrise, but in return you became part of something legendary. The Horsemen of Oyo didn't just conquer territories, you conquered fear itself. When enemies heard the thunder of your hooves on the horizon, they knew their world was about to change forever. That's the legacy you carry. That's the brotherhood you belong to. That's why, even facing guns and trenches and impossible odds, you never break. Because you're not just fighting for the Empire, you're fighting to prove that some things in this world are still worth dying for. And if you had to do it all again, knowing everything you know now, you would.